Welcome to the Divorced Playbook podcast. I'm Dan Levy, and that very injured man on the other side of the screen is.
Scott Levy, very injured.
Are you all right? I hear you got a back problem.
No, I'm not okay, actually. I'm actually in severe pain. Like the doctor that I went to said, give me, and I actually have a high tolerance for pain. Said, give me a number. I mean, I'm like at a legit 9 out of 10 pain wise. It's like
Well,
really affecting me.
I feel bad, and there's more snow coming, so that's going to be tough in terms of shoveling. And I know you have some other things going on that you need your back. It's good, though, in this case, Scott, that you're doing the show with me because I pretty much carry the show the entire time, so you don't really need to do much heavy lifting. Bam.
Nice. Good,
What's
good one,
good, though,
Dan.
is you spent a lot of the weekend talking with 50 and over people because we put out one of the clips from one of our previous shows about how you said, a woman's online saying, who's going to want me? I'm 50. And you went, this guy. And then Jim from the office has done us a good favor because people seem to be responsive to that. So welcome 50 and older. I have to apologize before we get to that, Scott. This is like a legit apology. I made reference to 50 plus people on the show and I called them septuagenarians. That's like 70 plus septuagenarians. I just looked it up. And so 50 to 59, and I'm going to read this on this little paper, it's quinquagarians.
Quinquagarians.
Quinquagarians. So apparently anyone who's between 50 and 59, you're now on Star Trek. Which is good
Nice.
because Star Trek is now on CBS, which is the station for old people. And now we've gone full circle.
First of all, don't call anybody 50 plus old at all. They're mature, experienced. Second of all, I don't know what you say half the time anyway. So all these septo whatever words, like thankfully I actually look at the definitions of the things that you post with regards to the acronyms for dating because I have no idea what half of them mean either. And when people make comments on them, I look at it, I laugh because I think more people look at them and think like I do than like you. Like
Sure.
You're a wordsmith on this stuff, and you just
unfortunately, I've gotten some backlash on a few of those, and if we have time, we'll talk about part of my weekend that had to do with some family stuff. Before we get to that, as we're going to sort of recap the weekend and do some things, let's throw our theme music on there. If you get this is amazing because I don't even know this song, but I figured,
we'll am I gonna get it?
Like an early mid 80s vibe to it. So let's see if you know it. Cut it off in a second. I thought your back hurt when you're dancing. Well, what's going on?
My neck doesn't hurt. My back is killing. My neck is fine.
I don't know if the words ever kick in, but what I'll just give it to you because if anybody, by the way,
there were no words. How would I ever know this?
Well, there's words coming out, but the words stink anyway. This, Scott, is the 80s, whatever you want to call that type of music, My Bloody Valentine. And so I figured if we're doing a Valentine's Day weekend post-mortem.
Nice.
My Bloody Valentine. I could have gone with the Machine Gun Kelly song Bloody Valentine, but I just there's something about that guy I just am not at all a fan of.
So
it's not the tattoos like you. It's just I just don't like the guy.
So which I've gotten plenty of response about, but so you'd rather just play music with no lyrics and try and have me guess on just some random
There were
music?
lyrics afterwards. No, I said I didn't even know the song, so whatever. But anyway,
Okay.
Valentine's weekend post-mortem. It was a long weekend for me because as we talked about, my birthday was maybe the last show we did.
Yeah.
I think it came out on that day.
On your birthday. Yep. Happy birthday. How's it feel to be, what are you
Thank
now?
You. 43.
Oof.
Yeah.
You're there.
I'm closer to 45 than 40. That's a thing.
That's a thing. I guess if you say it's a thing.
I mean, halfway to 90.
I'm not closer to 45.
Right. So I had the kids. It was actually a very good weekend for me in terms of getting to do cool things with the kids, getting to do some not so cool things with the kids, but not having to focus on being alone on Valentine's Day weekend. And I know a lot of our audience had to deal with that. You've had to deal with that in the past, I'm sure, and for part of the weekend, as well. And it's difficult. We tried to do our best to, put some stuff out there and have this open conversation on the show, Scott, about that. But then you have to go through it, and it's difficult. And I know a lot of new listeners, as we mentioned, are finding us because on Valentine's Day weekend, they were like, what the F am I going to do? And they ended up going online trying to find something. And some of them happen to find us.
They did. Wait, can you just answer a question? I actually meant to ask you this. What is Galentine's Day? What does that mean? There are lots of people celebrating Galentine's Day. I didn't know. I didn't know. Is that the anti Valentine's Day, or is that like with your girlfriends, or?
Yes, you're with your gal, like
Galentine's Day. Okay, so I did know what it meant. Okay, I was just verifying.
Amy Poehler, who is one of the great comedians in our country, created Galentine's Day. It was an episode of Parks and Rec where she and Ann Perkins and a couple other like Pawnee women went out and they celebrate Galentine's Day. And it's a legit thing. Like it's a legit, it's amazing how it went from, 10 years ago or whatever on Parks and Rec. It went from like a funny thing to like women doing it to now it's a legit thing. So I'm surprised
it's
you didn't
legit.
know it, but.
Well, I mean, I assumed. I just wanted verification because I saw a lot of females posting Happy Galentine's Day, and they were just all pictures of women. So I assumed that's what it was, but I actually hadn't asked you, so I meant to ask you.
Yeah, and what's funny is it's usually for women. I mean, this is a broad stroke, but it's usually for women who don't have Valentine's plans. Like, let's just get together with the people who matter to us, and it's the rest of the women in your life.
It's evolving.
I actually saw people this weekend posting Galentine's Day stuff, and then also still going on Valentine's Day. It's like, you know what, ladies? That's like the kids, like my kids who celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas. Like, you get enough. You don't need both. Like, come on.
They're double dipping on Valentine's Day is what you're saying,
right? They're double dipping.
Their girlfriends and their partner, right?
Right. So you don't know a lot of Parks and Rec references, which I think I know every Parks and Rec reference. So have at the people on the internet. If you think I won't know it, I will. But you love How I Met Your Mother.
Love.
Okay. So I have a little surprise for you. And I haven't seen you. Wait for it. Look at this.
No. Yes.
For people who are not watching on YouTube, this is, as many know, I have Pop Funkos abound. Everywhere is a Pop Funko. And I was out with the kids this weekend, and we were looking around. We bought some records at the local record store. We went to the other store, and I was like, you know what, Max and I was like, let's just check the Pop Funkos. Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother. Legend Dairy. It's going.
You have to take a picture of that. You have to take a picture of that and send it to me. Because
that's the screen capture for the show. I will definitely do that. Actually, I'm not going to put it there because that's actually blocking my kids, which is like a dick thing to do. So I'm gonna.
Right. That's funny though, because I still believe you are very much so like Barney Stinson in real life.
Well, that's why I got it. I figure, it's like your favorite character of any show.
I think he's a real character, and I think that you're very much so like him.
What's funny is I kept saying to you that no one watches that show anymore. Well, now I have to eat crow because to me, once something is a Pop Funko, it's entered like the cultural zeitgeist, right? So it's like, I mean, I know it was big, but now it's like, oh, it's got a Pop Funko, so now it's cool. Like now I'm allowed to.
It's on Prime now. It's on Prime. They took it. It was on Hulu. It's now on Prime. No commercials. It's amazing. I've watched all the seasons again, and I'm going through it again. Like it's just a really easy thing for me to keep on in the background.
So 50 plus. Let's get back to that because I know we had a lot of feedback on our Facebook page specifically. Because that's where people 50 plus are. I'm gonna do it all day. I'm just telling you, people. Look, I'm joking. I do not discriminate. Okay. Look, hey,
if you're joking,
my parameters on most search sites, the dating sites, is 30 to, I've now gone up to 52, and now I may even go to 53 because I figure if I can go 10 years older and 13 years younger, it was 12. I figured that's fair.
You have such a broad you have such a broad range, which is funny to me. I think you're trying to be experimental and exploratory by going above 50. I don't think you would normally do that. Mine legit goes. I'm nowhere near 30s. Like that's just not happening. But mine legit goes into the 50s.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think mine legit goes into the 50s too, considering I've matched with people in their 50s, late 40s, 49, 50, 51. And I will say this, if you go to our was it Facebook or Instagram? I think it was our Instagram. If you noticed on the red flag conversation, which I do want to talk about because we got a lot of feedback on are there different shades of red and red flags and this, that. I want to update people on that because I know people are listening. If you notice, one of the people basically said, like, look in the mirror to me. I don't know the exact quote, but it was pretty much like, you're concerned that like somebody didn't make plans with you, and like look in the mirror, because apparently not apparently, I know I did it to her because I did it to her. Which
I never know if these are comments coming from people that you've previously gone on a date with or not. But
I didn't go out on a date with her.
I think I actually probably strongly agreed with her comment and might have written a whole comment from us about that. I don't know who they are.
What this comment was basically, look in the mirror, Dan. To which I look in the mirror every day. I both, literally and figuratively, like I do. And I think in this regard, and I understand that like people are upset or whatever, she had already texted me privately. To me, this goes back to like the double dipping. Pick one. Like, I've had people come at us on the show, online, and I'm not a fan of that. Come at me, don't come at the show. But that was something I discussed on the show. So fine, come at the show. But if you're gonna text me privately, and I responded, by the way, and then you're gonna then post it online for like you're just doing a dance. That's not about communication. That's about showing off.
Maybe she wanted me to see and respond, which I did, I believe.
That's fine. But then why did she text me as well? And that goes to the same thing. Like, by the way, and I'm not going to say which account, my ex replied to one of our divorced Playbook Instagram
I didn't
posts.
know it was her.
I didn't know she did it. And the other day she's like, why didn't you respond to my Instagram? I'm like, what? I didn't even know she was on. I mean, I knew she was on Instagram, but I didn't know she was on Instagram.
Right. And we're pretty good at responding. So for those of you who have said stuff and we haven't responded, we're trying to keep up. We got a lot of activity lately. I did not know that I didn't know it was her.
Yeah. So anyway, and that was the one where it was, I'm that guy. Apparently she does not want to give me credit for being that guy. And if we can spin this now to the postmortem of Valentine's Day weekend, can I start with a little bit of what happened on mine, and then we'll go to yours?
Yeah, but you didn't want to talk about the 50-year-olds anymore. Like, I feel like you just.
Oh yeah, we can go there. Yeah, we can stay to that. I'm just throwing it up to make fun of people, but yeah.
And well, you shouldn't make fun of them because I think that
I'm making fun of you. To be honest, I'm making fun of them.
You could totally make fun of me because I think that I'm smart for thinking this way, and it's just the mindset that I'm in. I really think that. Late 40s, kind of seeing that horizon of 50 into early 50s. I think these are largely women who, have their shit together, they feel comfortable in their own skin. Like, there's just a lot of things about them. So I know some people took it, like, we had a comment of somebody saying like, you guys only care about looks. You don't care about anything else, which is false. So false. I actually very much so, and as anyone who's ever seen, and we've talked about this on my dating profile, that I specifically speak about the fact that I don't just want a physical connection. I need,
right.
We talked about this with Nicole, when she was on.
I have a response to that.
Emotional, all those things.
I have a response to that, but I want you to finish your thought, and then I'll go to it.
Well, I'm just saying that the connections are bigger than just physical, for sure. Physical is nice, but there's more to it than that. And I just think that there's something about these women who are in their late 40s heading to 50 or just over 50 that is really attractive to people like me and the place.
Okay, a couple things to unpack there. One, I joke around on the show, but people don't know who I match with. I mean, I tell you the funny stories. I don't tell you all the stories. And frankly, I'll say from personal experience, some of the better dates, whatever you want to call them, sometimes just hanging out, having coffee, sometimes more than coffee, that I've had over the last 6-8 months are people who are between the ages of 48 and probably now 50, 51. To your point, they know what they want and they know what they like, and they're pretty good at it. I don't have a problem with that. Do you remember the time that I said that I was frustrated because somebody put 39 on their account, and then we matched, and then like within the first couple minutes she's like, by the way, I'm 49, and I was like, bullshit, you don't look 49. I mean, that's a perfect example of it. I mean, I wouldn't have probably matched with her had she said 49, but that experience got opened my eyes to that. And now I
Right.
legitimately, I'm not looking to like troll people. I legitimately have people up into 51, 52, 53, because if they look like this woman who I thought was legit 39, I don't care how old they are. So
So
I
that's an
joke around on the
interesting.
show.
So that's interesting. Really quickly, I just want to get your thoughts about this because I know we've been giving people a lot of guidance on their profiles,
Yeah,
uh, and I kind of go both ways on this. I'm not sure
that's a
how I
different kind of
feel
profile.
exactly. I knew you were going to say something that when I said that.
There you go.
I flip flop on how I feel about this particular issue of trying to, again, people are trying to open up their pool of opportunities, and if you're in that range of like your late 40s or 50 or early 50s, maybe a lot of people don't think like I do, or maybe the women don't believe that there are people that think like I do, or even you do, in terms
Right.
of looking at them, whatever it is. So they end up putting their profile, to your point, like 10 years younger to get more people. And then they're generally like honest in the profile. So like, well, I'm not actually 42, I'm 52. And it- to me, I'm curious about what you think, Dan. How do you feel about being completely candid on your profile at the top, or just getting people in, hooking them a little bit, and then being honest in the profile?
I spoke to someone yesterday about this, and I thought I gave her some pretty good advice. And um, it was a situation where she said, I have all of my information out there. I'm very honest in my profile, and I've been struggling to find someone. And so my friends told me to take some of the specifics out and be more generic. And that hasn't helped. And she asked me what to do. And I said, my advice would be the opposite. Know what you're getting into, but be as specific as possible on your dating profile. Because if you do that, you're getting fewer matches, but you're getting more direct and higher quality matches. And that's a
Right.
lot of what we talk about with the ebook that we have and everything. It's not about getting more matches. No one needs more. What you need is to weed out the people who would have no interest in you. And I bring up, Scott, that thing someone sent me, the guy with the foot fetish, right? He put on his profile, I want to do things with your feet. And all the pictures in his profile match that. They had pictures of him with feet all over his face. It's the best profile I've seen in a long time,
Yeah.
because he doesn't care if he gets made fun of or screen captured or put online and joked about, because he's looking for something specific and he knows it and he's going for it.
Yeah. So what does that mean in terms of the age thing? Because I want to hear that actual answer.
Oh, all right. In terms of the age thing, I don't like when anyone lies about anything.
Yeah.
I'm honest to a fault. So I would
Yeah.
not recommend someone change their age. I think you can put something toward the front of your bio that says young at heart, or I'm this age but I feel this age, or
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
tires, some make something kind of cute about it,
Yeah.
to
New
know
tires.
that whatever. Don't We watched the Daytona 500 this weekend, so
Right.
new
Gotcha.
tires. Just the left side. You don't.
Jesus.
That is weirdly inappropriate.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would recommend that people be honest in your profile, but not just honest with your facts, honest with what you want and honest with what you're looking for. And that's
Yeah.
more honest to yourself, Scott, than honest to the
Yeah.
audience.
I think
Because
that's the
until you're
harder
honest with
part.
yourself, what are you doing?
Yeah. I think that's the harder part. I think that's been the harder part for me through this journey. And I think that it's a hard part for a lot of people. I think that when you get out there, everyone again plays the game. You want to get lots of matches, you want to have lots of options, you want to feel wanted, all these different things. And so you do keep a pretty broad, and I think to the person you were talking to, a lot of people try and keep a broad profile. And I agree with you that the more specific you can get, the more specific references you can get in there, the better chance you're going to match with somebody who is much more like you. Even if you put in there, like, and I've done this before, like put in one
Much
of your
more
favorite
like what you're
movie.
looking for too, not even just
Right,
you.
right.
Right.
Yeah, just like what you're looking for. I think that that actually really helps. So if we can give any kind of brief guidance on that, I think I agree with you being honest. Like if you look great, people will click on you. If you're 51 and you feel like you're not going to get searched by the people. Well,
Right.
again, unless you're looking to do a bunch of FWBs or whatever, if you are looking for, if you're going to say that if you're going to ultimately say you're 51 and you're looking for an LTR, Well, then just say it, because
By the way, I love that you're doing this now. I love
I'm
you're like
trying to
trying to
remember them.
sound like a hep cat.
I'm trying to remember them. I'm trying to understand what they mean. So I'm trying to use them in my vernacular as I'm just speaking.
Wait, can I show you this? Can I show you this? This is amazing. And so one of the ones that of the acronyms or abbreviations that we've done has gotten a lot of traction was MILF. Everyone knows what a MILF is, but we put on there because of the pandemic, mother I'd like to FaceTime. Because I mean, guys, like for real, she's doing everything right now. She's working from home. She's schooling her own kids. She's got a clean. What are you doing? You're waiting for her to say, "Hey, let's hang out. Hey, let's hang out." She's busy and she's tired and she's upset. Be lucky if she gives you a FaceTime. And that happened to me just before we started taping. But I want to show you this because
you did a FaceTime. You did a FaceTime right before we started taping.
No, somebody I want to hang out with is like, I could probably only do FaceTime. And I was disappointed, but I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm a hypocrite if I don't. But I will tell you this. I finally found one. I forgot to screen capture it before. As you can see there, MILF. There are women out there who put in their own profiles that they are a MILF. And I love that. Right. Because if you think you're hot, if you think you got what it takes, you're a mom, there you go. Put it out there.
Yeah.
To me, that shows that you're in on the joke, that you're cool with it, that you want people to know that you're just like, I'm just having fun. I'm just out there having fun.
Right. Yeah. And as long as you're stating it, that's cool. I mean, you would click on that person. I wouldn't, but I'm just saying.
You wouldn't click on somebody if they put that in there, really?
If they said I'm a MILF, no, I'm not looking for somebody who is a mom. Like that's somebody who I think if you're putting that, unless you're joking the way we are with regards to FaceTiming, I'm not looking for somebody who's out there like just sleeping around. Like it's not.
But that's interesting, Scott. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's not what that means.
That's what I thought.
If she said I'm a mom who's DTF or, whatever, then that's different. But if she says I'm a MILF, what that means is I'm confident in myself. Yeah, I have kids, but I'm still fucking hot. That's what that means. And I respect that. That doesn't mean that she's going to have sex with you.
Maybe. So, okay, I don't want to make a broad generalization because I'll get a lot of crap about that. The reality is I do want, of course I want to find a MILF. I just don't want to find an overactive MILF. How's that?
You don't, you want someone to be like the sheepish MILF that at the beginning of the movie, she's got like glasses and her hair all twisted up. And then by the end of the movie, she's amazing.
So
by the way,
yeah,
I'm trying to cover the pertinent information. If I can't get it on this is the opposite of the MILF comment. And I'll show it for you there. We have the same goals. It says, I know I found someone when we have the same goals. I'm trying to cover the face. Yeah. There you go. We have the same goals, philosophy, can communicate well, and have complete trust. Okay. That's great. And the trust thing is fine. People put that a lot because, people get burned and we've talked about that. But when you put in there, you have an opportunity to now showcase yourself to me. And you're going to put in there, we have the same goals, philosophy, and can communicate well. You're looking for someone who has that. What are those goals? What is your philosophy?
Right.
And how the hell are you going to communicate when you can't even tell me what those things are? And so now you want me sight unseen to try to match with you, put myself out there to try to get you to like me in hopes that my philosophy is the same as yours. Put your damn philosophy out there. Tell me what that philosophy is. Tell me what your goals are. Don't say you're looking for someone with the same goals and then don't give me your goals. And I'm not mad at this woman. I'm just frustrated that people do this and they're like, I can't find the right person. No shit.
Well, that's why we're here to help, Dan. We can make it better.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree that people need to be a little more descriptive, go into a little bit more detail on their profiles if you think you're going to find somebody that you actually want to date.
Right. And again, that goes back to the putting yourself out there. And people are afraid. I'm afraid that when you put yourself out there, it's you getting rejected. And I talked to somebody about that this weekend too, with professionally too, like what we're doing. Honestly, Scott, like that broke my brain 3 years ago because my entire professional career has been me putting myself out there. Even if you didn't know that I did it, it was my work. And then for the next dozen or so years, it was literally my voice, my face, my words. And so when something didn't get a lot of clicks or didn't get a lot of reads or didn't get a lot of response that I thought I was going to get, it messes with your brain. And I think that's what happens on dating profiles for people. Why am I not getting 100 matches? My friend's getting 100 matches. Well, you know what I need to do? I need to put a picture of my boobs. You don't. You don't need
Right.
to do that. Now you can if that's what you're looking for, but you just need to focus on quantity, or excuse me, you need to focus on quality and not quantity.
Yeah.
Because it's not about getting 900 likes because you put a picture of your cleavage. It's about getting 9 likes because you put the things you actually like.
Right. Totally agree.
But people get in their own heads and it upsets them because the longer you go without finding a match, the more pressing you get. And that's where I think the 50 and over thing happens. You can speak to that.
Yeah, and you
I don't
also
mean
get
with you.
caught.
I mean with people you've discussed this week. I'm not making fun of you. Come on.
Right. You do sometimes, but
Well, I mean, I usually do, but in this case, I wasn't.
But I do think people get caught up in, I said it before, in the gamification of apps. And I think if you feel like you're not going to find your actual mate, you want to then know that you're liked by a lot of people, that like you're pretty, or, something is attracting people to you. And again, oftentimes people wonder, they're like, well, I have a lot of, you said this before, like you have a lot of great first dates. You have a lot of great first dates because you open yourself up. And then once you actually get to know the person a little bit more, you realize like, like it's just a good first date. Like this is not somebody that I could see myself with, for a
I think
second,
that
third,
happens
fourth,
to
fifth,
me
or
more
sixth date.
than I do it, to be honest.
Maybe, but I'm just saying. So for the women that happens to with you, that's part of what they're doing, is that they're seeing you. They like something about you physically. You say something in your profile that resonates with them, and they're like, yeah, this is a guy I could see myself dating.
Right.
For the most part, I think people are on dating sites to try and actually date. I think there are certain sites that you would go on to just hook up, and that's fine. Like people are
and
in
I
that
downloaded one of those
area.
last night because I wanted to look into that. So and this is, let's weave this back together a little bit from what we were talking about at the beginning to pay off the red flag situation on the postmortem of Valentine's Day weekend. Last we talked, it was Wednesday, and I wasn't sure if the woman was going to be able to find a sitter, and we were supposed to go out day before my birthday. She was not. She hadn't texted me by the time we talked. We clipped up that red flag thing and posted it on Instagram, and we follow each other on Instagram. So I sent it to her. I was like, by the way, just a heads up, if you didn't realize it, which is pretty blatantly obvious, this is about you. And we spent a good portion of the weekend texting back and forth, like about life, like not about that, not about like, what is that? I don't care. I hate doing that. I'm not analyzing that kind of crap anymore. I've learned the hard way and as many ways as possible that you can't force someone to like you. You can't pressure someone. You can't, you have to be patient. You can't make someone like you. You can make someone not like you, though. And that took me a long time to figure that out. I try to, come on, make the decision now. Okay. If you're making me make the decision, it's no. So get the bleep out.
Right.
So I'm trying to be patient with this. And again, it is what it is. But we texted a lot about, like, I had a thing with my kids this weekend. She had a thing with her kids. And so we have common ground and we're trying to help each other as humans. Whether it turns into something or not, I don't know. But I wanted to pay that off because I know a lot of people sent me messages between now and then that, like, oh, it's a red flag. You can't, or as I said, it's a different shade of red. She can't find a sitter. That doesn't mean she doesn't like you. It doesn't mean she's, hanging out with 90 people. Look yourself in the mirror, all that bullshit. Like, so I just want to pay that off. That this conversation is still going.
It's nice that it's still going. It's nice that you're talking about life stuff. I think what the majority of people who responded to the red flag incidents said were 2 times it's a red flag for dating. It's cool if you're gonna be friends, but it's 2 times to do that, to cancel without much explanation behind it, whatever. It's a red flag. Like for dating, she might be a wonderful woman, but maybe she's just not capable or ready, or that into the dating part of it. And I think was the overwhelming response from most people were like, yeah, no. Like
Look,
two times is a red flag.
Perhaps this is wishful thinking, and perhaps this is, I know more context, obviously, in this situation that I'm not going to divulge. I agree in most cases. I do. That doesn't mean on my end that I shouldn't still pursue it. I shouldn't just be like, well, she canceled on me twice. I want people to know I'm very open about that. You know that. I'm very open about, like, this is what I want to do with you, and sometimes this is what I want to do to you. Like, there's no more ambiguity with me. And the reason is because that night when I didn't go out with her, I was sitting around and matched with someone who had a really good profile, very specific. And we started texting back and forth, and she's a spontaneous person, was like, hey, do you want to come hang out? It was 5:30. She lives an hour from me. We had dinner reservations at 7:15. And I went. I had to shower too and everything, get ready. Because I was like, you know what? I want to have an adventure. And nothing happened, except I drove home in the snow, somewhat frustrated. But the reason that I was frustrated is because no. This is where I learned my lesson. I danced around my intentions. And I said, just a heads up, tomorrow's my birthday. And I'm letting you know that if I come out there, I'm probably going to try to use that to my advantage. I mean, any like-minded person would know what I mean by that, right?
Presumably.
I think. She ignored that comment and answered the other part of what I said. So I went back to it a minute later and I said, I don't know if you didn't get my reference or you were just coyly ignoring it to leave, the playfulness or whatever. And she said the latter. Nothing happened. I was very frustrated because to me, I thought like, a kiss is not a contract to make a Flight of the Conchords reference, but I thought that I was going out there for a different reason than I did. And that was my fault. That was not her fault. That was totally on me. Now, again, when you're having a conversation about like hooking up in have you ever hooked up in a public bathroom and stuff? Like when the conversation goes that way, you start to think like, all right, well, I was right. And then when you're not, the day gets frustrating. But my point is that moment, two things happened that moment. The reason I matched with her was because I said her profile was very specific. She enjoys a very specific type of thing, which I'm not going to get into because it's none of anybody's business except hers. And I appreciate that she shared it with me, but it made me realize that I need to stop caring if I offend someone because of the things that I like. And I need to focus on finding other like-minded people to that. And if it's fewer people, then that's fine. And so that's what I did. You said like one of the hookup sites. This wasn't really necessarily a hookup site. And I've talked about this on the show before. So like I'm not breaking any new ground, but like sending pictures back and forth is fun. It's like harmless to me. It's fun. Some people don't think it's harmless. Some people are nervous that their photos are going to get put all over the internet or whatever. And I get that. I'm already all over the internet. Like, if you want to put the rest of me up there, God bless. It's like a Chris Evans situation. I'm happy to take the plaudits. Like, but other people don't like that. Well, instead of trying to find somebody who's okay, sometimes I'm just going to go that direction. I'm bored. Let's see who's available, who wants to like share pictures. There's a whole subculture.
But isn't that part? But isn't that part of? I mean, that's part of where we are in terms of dating in this time. That's why there's FaceTime, because you can be playful and safe and get to know somebody and see if you are on the same page as opposed to just doing it through pictures. Because FaceTime, I think people are worried that you're going to take the pictures and use them or whatever. Maybe I know you're not, but I understand, and maybe they've done that before and that's happened and it's not been a great thing for them. But that's why I think the going back to the MILF reference, there's I like to FaceTime. I think FaceTime is okay. I think it's good. I think that I actually try and get people to the point where we can be FaceTiming because whether it's COVID or it's the weather, and again, we're up in the Northeast and the weather's just been horrific through the past month and a half. It's hard to get around, it's hard to get out, it's hard to find places to go meet people. So I think FaceTime is a great option, and I think that could be even better option than just pictures.
Absolutely. But what I'm getting at is, Scott, that's two different things. So the red flag woman, the text that we went back and forth, I said, can we hang out Friday? Can we like call in our rain check? And she said, yeah, except it's going to snow again. So let's, I don't know if that's going to work. I said, well, let's just put ourselves down for a FaceTime. And then if the weather's okay, maybe we can meet in person.
Yeah, I think that's a commitment, but that's all I was saying about the red flag was the fact that if you're gonna make a commitment and the weather stops you from doing it, that's okay. But you're committing your time. She would be committing her time to you. Like,
yes,
like cash that
what
in.
she did do, what she did suggest, what we talked about on the show. It wasn't for that night, but it was like, let's do it FaceTime. She said soon. Which again, and also to keep this in mind, and it's not that big a deal, but like just to go back to the fact that she couldn't get a sitter, that doesn't just mean she's got to sit home with the kid. You're not going to do a FaceTime date when your 6-year-old is sitting on the couch banging a pot or stealing your whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but a 6-year-old goes to bed
at
8. A 6-year-old goes to bed.
No, I get that. I agree. And I would have wished for that to be the case, because then I think we would have had a very different conversation that day. But my point is, sometimes you never know what other people have going on, and it's a long day, and you don't want to have to, keep your makeup on at 9:30 or do whatever. I don't wear makeup. If I look stupid, I look stupid.
Yeah.
But there are people who don't
Yeah.
want to do that. But that's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking
Okay.
about, Scott, with that. What I'm talking about specifically is I've tried to, it's a square peg round hole situation. Like, I've tried to find people on conventional sites that like doing things that are a little fun to me or whatever. And occasionally I do, but the problem that I've found is that it's either people are reluctant to do it, or sometimes it's people I'm not really that attracted to, and I'm just doing it because like it's a fun thing to do back and forth. Like, oh, let's send pictures. I need to find a subculture of like super attractive model type people who are on like a group text that just like send each other artsy pictures of their body parts. Like, that's what I'm looking for. If anybody knows that website, Dan at
Maybe you can start.
divorceplaybook.com.
Maybe you can start a website.
Honestly, we have a website, so why don't we just
Well,
start it
we're
there?
not doing that. So
No,
we're not doing that.
But my point is, Scott, instead of just like I'm fine with that. Now, that's not what I'm doing on these other sites. So if I match with you on Hinge, if you want to do that, let's do that. But I'm not expecting it. But if I match with you on Wild, have you seen Wild? It's Wild. Then yeah, that's what it's for.
WYLD, is that what that
I
is?
believe
WYLD.
no, I think it's just WILD.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, it's Wild.
That's the name.
Yeah, maybe I deleted that one. Maybe it was a little too wild for me. Either way.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But the point is, and I thank the woman who I went out with last week for this. She knows what she wants. COVID has hurt that, but there are certain clubs, there are certain, in-person situations, and it's not, there's nothing to be ashamed of for having an interest. Even if your interest is not necessarily mainstream or conventional. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm just talking about, in my experience, people I've discussed things with. The people who are comfortable in what they do, comfortable in who they are the people who are finding better matches. Be honest with what you want. Be honest with who you are.
Yep.
And if you want something where people are going to put feet all over your face, don't be ashamed of that. Put it out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Can we talk about what happened with the kids this weekend and how that pertains? Because now I'm in my own head and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. If you're comfortable talking about it.
Let's throw out the information for people who want to contact us or who are maybe, like we said, new and are listening and not watching on YouTube. We thank people who watch. It's fun to watch, but a lot more people listen than watch, as you always say.
Just I would say just DM us. Like, it's the best way to get in touch with us at this point.
No, don't DM us. Respond to our comments on Instagram or Facebook. Like, do it publicly, and we'll respond best we can.
Right.
So we can continue the conversation for other people.
I agree, but I'm saying if you do want to just say something to us specifically, DMing us is probably the easiest way to stay engaged. So yeah,
sure,
go like our stuff because there's a lot going on in the community's building, and make comments publicly. But if you have something for us, a story or whatever it might be they want to share, privately, do it. It's cool.
So that brings me to we have to pay off the worst date ever story from 2 episodes ago. We're going to do that in a second because it pertains to this that we're getting at with the Valentine's Day postmortem. But just quickly, I got summoned. I had the kids all weekend. And then my ex called me and said, the kids want to talk to you and they want to do it in person, because I had previously said to them, do not blindside me on FaceTime or Duo or whatever, and have the 3 of you sitting on a couch and me halfway across town having to defend myself. I'm not doing it anymore. So they asked me to drive there. It turned out they had very legitimate concerns. Some of it financial things. They thought that I maybe needed money, or because I was talking about how expensive a sandwich was one day. And they were like, well, you go out on all these dates, or you're paying for these, dating sites. And I was like, why do you think I'm paying for the dating sites? This is what I do for work now. It's a tax write-off. Your uncle's paying for that. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, you didn't even ask. Like, but you didn't ask. You just assumed. And I said, I wasn't telling you that sandwich cost a lot of money because I couldn't afford it. I was telling you because I want you to learn the value of $1. That if you go to the store, I go to a store where milk is $3 instead of $3.50. Organic whole milk, $3 instead of $3.50. Well, guess what? If I go there 10 times, I saved myself $5. That $5 I can then go out and use on a drink, on a date, or on part of, paying for an app or whatever. there's value to it. Sometimes you can pinch pennies so you can spend dollars somewhere else. And I was trying to teach my kids that, and I think they took it in a way that like they were concerned about me, and I appreciate that they were very upfront about it. And my
Right.
ex was great about it, and so it was. I always get anxious with that kind of stuff. It ended up not being as bad as I expected.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think if you get to a point, and I know it's been, a year now, it's not always been the case, but that's progress. I think for anyone who's in similar situation that, you know, when you were married, you had peaks and valleys of communication. And I think it's so important to make sure that the communication continues to flow when you're not married, and especially with the kids involved. And it's hard. Like, I gotta be honest, again, way further out than you, there's still mixed communication when it comes to, the kids and their wants, and, playing the parents against each other. And, that's unfortunate. I also think kids are a little bit sneakier as they get older. So, that's part of it too. But I'm glad that that conversation was not as anxiety driven as you were expecting.
However, you knew this was coming. On the back end, I don't know what to do here. I actually was speaking to a friend over the weekend, and this is a different situation than what you went through when you got divorced. Because what you went through when you got divorced, it was everything was sort of out in the open. When you got divorced, you knew all the players, so to speak, right? You knew who your ex was with and who the kids were and all this, right? There wasn't any ambiguity of like, that she's dating, but you don't know who it is type of thing, which is what I've talked about ad nauseum on this show. Well, I was patted on the back by a good friend of mine because I didn't care. And she was like, "How do you not care who your ex is dating?" I was like, "Because I get obsessed with things. And so I don't care. I don't want to know anything about him. She doesn't want me to know. If she wants me to know, I'll happily, the only time I care is when I get that phone call that this guy is going to meet my kids. And before that happens, I am going to run that guy's credit score, for Christ's sake. I am doing everything I can to make sure that that person should be around my children. But until then, it's none of my business. I don't care who she dates. It's going to do is serve to make me insane." And I was like, I'm not asking. I don't know his name. I don't know where he's from. I don't know how they met. Nothing. And she's like, "That's amazing." And then I go talk to my kids, and good old Max decides to blurt out the guy's name, and blurt out, because Max and I love cars, what kind of car he drives. Which, again, sensible sedan, like whatever, or maybe an SUV, like nothing special. I don't know why Max decided to throw that in my face. And then he decides to read the card on the gift that he sent to the house via like delivery service for Valentine's Day, which is a little showy considering, you have the woman has kids that you haven't met yet. But either way, I'm not begrudging the guy at all. And now I can't get it out of my fucking head. Now it's in my head. I'm not giving anything away, but like you hear a certain name and you're like, "Wow, I didn't expect that." Like, like certain names have certain backgrounds and stuff. And I'm like, "Wow, I didn't even picture that. I just thought it was going to be some like nerdy guy like me." And that name, the guy's probably not like me. And so then all of a sudden you ruminate and you're like, "Oh shit. Now I want to know who this guy is." And so I told the friend, I was like, "I can't do this." And she's like, "I'll look." So then she went online to try to look to find this guy. That's like the doctor knowing if it's a boy or a girl, and you being like, no, don't tell me. At some point, you're going to be like, "Please just fucking tell me."
Yikes. I mean, I get it. I get it. I mean, but you have to trust her judgment, and that she's gonna, again, she's the mom, and that she's gonna bring somebody, if it's gonna be somebody who's around, that she's gonna have good judgment and bring somebody around who's gonna be good with the kids. Like, I get, especially for you, because you get obsessed.
Look, I've been in journalism for 20 years. You give me a tiny speck of information, I'm going to go and run with it. I'm going to Nexus Lexus the fuck out of that guy. I don't have access to that, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, but
what do you mean? Newspapers?
Nexus Lexus. I don't. Right, there's database, but I think they might have, like, whatever.
I was making a joke, but thanks. Gotcha. I don't have access to it. Yeah. I can funkin' wagnall the guy. Is he in the
I don't know
encyclopedia?
About,
the point is, I now have significantly more information about this guy than I did previous to the conversation where Max decides to blurt this stuff out. And I know why he did it, because it's uncomfortable for him. He sees a gift basket full of, meats and cheeses and a bear or something. I don't know what it was. I didn't really look too closely. And the guy says love whatever his name is on the card, and it upset him.
Right.
What?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, it's just you can stop talking about you don't have to get as granular in the details of what
The meats and
what
cheeses
was.
is what got you on this? Meats and cheeses.
I just feel like you're going down a path that you could stop it now. And I understand what you're saying, that you're obsessed with trying to figure out who this person is. And I think you need to change your obsession to yourself instead of others. I think
No,
I
no, no.
think
I'm
if you're
I'm good.
obsessed with yourself and making yourself better and finding your own best life, then that's cool. If you start to obsess over things that are completely out of your control, not good.
And you're right. And you're right. And I'm taking my own advice. But the problem is, and you know how my brain works. I'm not searching. I'm not going online, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And again, my ex threw the old Instagram out there because she responded to us. So like gauntlet thrown on that. I'm not looking to see if there's a guy with that name who's suddenly following her on social media. I'm not looking to see if there's a guy with that name who's suddenly, on the staff of the place she works, whatever. I'm not doing it, but it's still stuck in my freaking head now.
Right.
Information that I have is stuck in my head and I can't deal with this. If you told me something about your next door neighbor who I've never met, aren't you dog sitting this week? Right? If you told me something about the
Yes.
dog, I'd be like, I'm going to spend the next 4 hours figuring every damn thing about that dog. When did the dog get its shots? Because I'm going to know. It doesn't matter what it's about. Information that is out there, I want to have. And when it's something like this, where I was walling myself off, and I understand why my kid did it, and I love him for it. He's struggling with it, and I do that too. When it's a defense mechanism, you make something a big deal because you don't know how to deal with it internally. And he's 10, so that happens. But damn it, man, damn it.
There's so many sides to every story, and I totally get it. I get what's in your head at this point. I think you just need to continue to do what's best for the kids. And and this is his way of dealing with it and being able to talk about it, I think you need to be open to talking about it. Sometimes I wish you know that I was able to get more information out of my own kids to make sure that I'm being the best dad that I can and being supportive of whatever is going through their mind as opposed to our minds, because we're adults, they're children.
The one thing they did say in that I can divulge is that they thought that I spent too much time talking about dating and dating sites in front of them. And I was like, well,
Well,
I'm doing this for work, so it's difficult. And they
yeah.
said, well, you keep talking about all these women you meet. I said, I'm allowed to have friends, guys. I was like, you don't ask where my best friend from when I grew up, where did I meet him? I met him in kindergarten, but they don't know if I met him on a dating site. I said, it's a double standard. If just because it's a woman, you're uncomfortable with me having friends because I met them on a dating site, doesn't mean I dated any of them or all of them or even one of them. And I had to explain that to them. Just because
Yeah.
you meet someone on a dating site doesn't mean that you're going to end up married to them or dating them or sleeping with them, whatever. Sometimes you make friends and sometimes those friends don't have benefits. And that's cool.
Yeah, that's probably pretty hard for a kid to understand, though. If you are, I
It's hard for
understand you're
you to
talking about
understand. Of
dating.
course, it's hard for a kid to understand. You complain all the time. You're like, I don't want friends. I'm not looking for friends.
Well, I'm not really looking for friends. That's what I'm saying. That it's not hard for me to understand what it is you're saying. It's hard for me to actually emulate what you're doing
Sure.
because that's not my end goal. So I understand why it would be hard for the kids to comprehend what you're doing, and that if you are talking about a lot of people, the assumption is that you're dating them or hooking up with them or whatever it may be. And they're smart kids. They have powerful minds.
So I made a deal with them. Their deal, not mine. I am not to talk about anyone who I am dating. I can talk about friends who are like dating other people. I could talk about friends who I've met. They're cool with that. But I cannot talk about anyone I'm dating until we've been dating for 3 weeks. That's their number.
3 weeks
Exclusively. So
exclusively with someone for
yeah.
3 weeks.
So my ex just burst out laughing when I said this the other day. And I was like, okay, so if I start dating someone and it's 3 weeks after we started dating, then I can like casually mention them in the conversation. I'm not going to introduce them certainly for months and months and months, but like I can bring it up. And they're like, yeah, but only if she's the only one you're dating. I was like, cool. You will never hear about anyone ever again. It's done. They'll never hear anything. I kid. Kind of.
Never say ever. Never say never.
Can I go worst date ever to close this out before we
Yes.
spin it back? So I'm not going to use her name, but she knows who she is, and she said I could use this information. I'm going to ask you this: have you ever slept? How do I word this without you getting uncomfortable? Have you ever slept with someone without sleeping with them? Like, have you ever slept at someone's house or apartment or wherever before sex happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because you know
Why?
how I feel about sleeping places. I have a lot of anxiety and I won't sleep.
Yeah. No, I'm sure if I was, I don't remember exactly the time, but if I was out in the city and kind of drinking or something, I would just go there and just get to know somebody and just sleep there, you mean, as opposed to like doing other things?
Yeah, like to me, I'm not saying it's like a rite of passage. Like if somebody's here and we had too many drinks and like we didn't sleep together, but they fell asleep, like I'm not gonna be like, get the F out. I'm not saying that, but I am walling
This
myself
is
off and I'm not putting myself in situations like that. Well, this is what happened to her.
wait, this is a How I Met Your Mother thing, by the way. This is the Sexless Innkeeper, but go ahead.
somehow you know.
It's a sexless innkeeper. It's someone who they lived. Ted lived on top of a bar, and girls would come from far away and like hang out with him, and then end up like
Just to have
going
a
coming
place to
back to the place,
crash.
just have a place to crash, so then have to go back to Jersey.
That's fair and probably
Yeah,
happens to guys all the time.
yeah.
So that's sort of what happened. The woman in question was very clear with her intentions, and the guy gave her the "I like you too much to have sex with you" line the first time they hung out, which is a red flag.
Come on, dude.
Right?
That's a
Come on, dude.
that's a wussy move.
It's a red flag. Like, I like you too much. Well, we found out why. Because apparently the next time they hung out, and again, she's going to text me if I'm wrong on this, but the details I believe are right. She said they were drinking, smoked a little bit, hung out, things happened, and then they both kind of like just passed out. Excuse me. The next morning, she woke up. She says she's a big morning person, if you know what I mean by that. And so she was very excited to have whatever deal that they had sealed in the AM. Apparently, the reason why the guy liked her too much to have sex with her is because he knew in advance that it would be unsatisfactory for her. You know how last episode you said you like to go deeper than wider? I think this guy is dipping in a shallow pool.
He's a small wiener, is what you're saying.
Thanks. I mean, I think people got that.
I mean, you were dancing around it. I just want to make sure that I was clear as to what you're.
If I was dancing around it, I wasn't dancing too far. There's no maypole that I was dancing around.
You're splashing in the kiddie pool.
And so apparently the whole experience was rather unsatisfactory. And so to which my response was, I was like, you slept at a guy's house before you slept with him. And she's like, yeah, we just fell asleep. It wasn't intent, but it happened. And I said, I was like, there is no way. This is a call to action, ladies. There's no way anyone is sleeping here until the penis is out. I'm not saying sex has to happen, but until that, you're not sleeping.
This is how we're ending. Oh my god.
We don't have that.
You just said you can't. You just said nobody's coming over unless the penis.
No, I didn't say coming over. I said staying over. People come over all the time. We hang out. We watch a movie. Nothing happens. That's cool. Go home. But if you're coming here and you expect to sleep over, it's like that Seinfeld. When the nipple makes an appearance. Well, to me, it's not the nipple. There's no room at the inn. I think that's a fair deal.
So you're the opposite of the sexless innkeeper. You're the innkeeper that all he wants to do is like you have
that's
to pay the toll. That's
not all I want to do. What I'm saying is
pay the toll.
Exactly. What I'm saying is I have so much anxiety about someone staying here that if I'm going to have someone stay here, there's got to be a pretty strong connection or a lot of alcohol. Either way, something's coming out before that happens. That's all I'm saying. Buyer beware on that.
Well, I think you just made a lot of people aware. So I don't feel the same way. So if that's the case, my expectations are not that anything needs to be coming out.
So you're just like, if somebody wants to come over and hang out and they fall asleep on my couch, it's not awkward to you at all?
No,
I find that
but I don't
incredibly
have a ton
awkward.
of people over my house. I got to be honest. I don't have a ton of people in my house, which
I don't
does
have a ton of
make
people over
dating
either.
but I don't have a requirement that if you are going to come over and we're having a good time and whatever it might be, that anything really needs to happen. I'm trying to get to know people. I'm trying to, like I wouldn't put it as far as what you said. Like I don't have to take out my, you know, my member
Oh,
in
now you
order
can't
for
say the word
something to.
penis? Now you said he's got a
I
tiny
mean,
wiener,
I'm
but now you
just.
can't say it about yourself?
I just don't want to keep repeating the word wiener or penis. Yikes,
Look how
dude.
red I am.
I
Just
know.
because of the
Yeah,
way you say the wiener.
that was a yikes moment on this podcast for
There's an
sure.
episode of Superstore where the guy Glenn just says the word like big swinging wiener like 9 times, and I watched that this weekend with the kids. And he's like, he's over there with this big swinging wiener out, and I'm like, oh my god, Max is probably like dying inside. It's so funny. It's a fantastic word. And so
I,
that's what I learned on my Valentine's Day weekend. My kids are very smart. They are catching more things than I know. Sometimes things that are wrong. So I had to clear the air on that. I went out with a woman on the day after the day before my birthday. Thought my intentions were clear. Turns out they were not. That's on me. I learned that. Yesterday, I found some other things, some different avenues to maybe put my energy toward. If I'm just sitting around having a good time, I'm not going to swipe somebody on Hinge because I'm not looking for that in that moment. I'm looking for just some stupid fun and I've learned all that, and I appreciate that from that first woman. That's what I learned this weekend, is to be somehow be more direct. I thought I was very direct in everything that I do. Turns out, not always. And so I'm going to try and be even more direct. And I think that's a very valuable lesson that I got out of a long weekend.
it's great, Dan, and ladies who are listening that might be going out with Dan, know if you're coming over packing a bag, the wiener's coming out.
Oh, if you're packing a bag, then you're also packing something else.
Well, Dan, that was really funny. Just to the point. I mean, I always talk about my family quite a bit, but since this was very related to your kids being very aware and communicative, I would say good for them and good that you're listening, which is really great.
Yep.
Buyer beware in terms of going out with you and coming over, and kids first.